Deepwater Horizon was an ultra-deepwater, dynamically positioned, semi-submersible offshore oil drilling rig owned by Transocean. Built in 2001 in South Korea by Hyundai Heavy Industries, the rig was commissioned by R&B Falcon, which later became part of Transocean, registered in Majuro, Marshall Islands, and leased to BP from 2001 until September 2013. In September 2009, the rig drilled the deepest oil well in history at a vertical depth of 35,050 AFT and measured depth of 35,055 AFT in the Tiber Oil Field at Keathley Canyon Block 102, approximately 250 miles southeast of Houston, in 4,132 feet of water. On April 20, 2010, while drilling at the Macondo Prospect, an explosion on the rig caused by a blowout killed 11 crewmen and ignited a fireball visible from 40 miles away. The resulting fire could not be extinguished and, on April 22, 2010, Deepwater Horizon sank, leaving the well gushing at the seabed and causing the largest offshore oil spill in U.S. history. Design: Deepwater Horizon was a fifth-generation, RBS-8D design, deepwater, dynamically positioned, column-stabilized, semi-submersible mobile offshore drilling unit, designed to drill subsea wells for oil exploration and production using an 18.75 in, 15,000 SI blowout preventer, and a 21 in outside diameter marine riser. Deepwater Horizon was the second semi-submersible rig constructed of a class of 2, although Deepwater Nautilus, its predecessor, is not dynamically positioned. The rig was 396 by 256 AFT and capable of operating in waters up to 8,000 feet deep, to a maximum drill depth of 30,000 AFT, and in 2010 was one of approximately 200 deepwater offshore rigs capable of drilling in waters more than 5,000 AFT. Its American Bureau of Shipping class notations were A1, Column Stabilized Drilling Unit, AMS, ACCU, DPS-3. In 2002, the rig was upgraded with E-Drill, a drill monitoring system whereby technical personnel based in Houston, Texas, received real-time drilling data from the rig and transmitted maintenance and troubleshooting information. Advanced systems played a key role in the rig's operation, from pressure and drill monitoring technology, to automated shut-off systems and modeling systems for cementing. The Opti-CEM cement modeling system, used by Halliburton in April 2010 for BP's Gulf of Mexico drill, played a crucial part in cement slurry mix and support decisions. These decisions have become a focus for investigations into the explosion on the rig that month. History, construction and ownership: Deepwater Horizon was built for R&B Falcon by Hyundai Heavy Industries in Ulsan, South Korea. Construction started in December 1998, the keel was laid on March 21, 2000, and the rig was delivered on February 23, 2001, after the acquisition of R&B Falcon by Transocean. Until December 29, 2004 the rig was registered in the Republic of Panama. Transocean, through its Steinhausen, Switzerland subsidiary Triton Asset Leasing GmbH, operated the rig under the Marshallese flag of convenience. The rig was leased to BP on a 3-year contract for deployment in the Gulf of Mexico following construction. The lease was renewed in 2004 for a year, 2005 for 5 years, and 2009 for 3 years covering 2010 to 2013. The last contract was worth $544 a million, or $496,800 a day, for a bare rig, with crew, gear and support vessels estimated to cost the same. According to R&B Falcon's filings to SEC in 2001, the transfer document between R&B Falcon and Transocean was dated August 17, 2001, and the rig was specified as official registration number of 29,273 PEXT1, IMO number of 8,764,597, with gross tonnage of 32,588 and net tonnage of 9,778, and the transfer value is $340 million. As of 2010, the rig was insured for $560 million covering the replacement cost and wreckage removal. Drilling operations: Deepwater Horizon worked on wells in the Atlantis and Thunder Horse oil fields. It was described at times as a lucky and celebrated rig, and in 2007 was still described as one of the most powerful rigs in the world. In 2006 it discovered oil in the Keathley Oil Field, and in 2009 the giant Tiber Field. The well in the Tiber Field has a vertical depth of 35,050 aft and a measured depth of 35,055 aft, below 4,132 aft of water. The well was the deepest oil well in the world, and more than 5,000 feet further below the seabed than the rig's official drilling specification stated on the company's fleet list. In February 2010, Deepwater Horizon commenced drilling an exploratory well at the Macondo Prospect, about 41 miles off the southeast coast of Louisiana, at a water depth of approximately 5,000 feet. The Macondo Prospect exploration rights were acquired by BP in 2009, with the prospect jointly owned by BP, Anadarko and MOEX Offshore 2007. Deepwater Horizon was still working on the Macondo site on April 20, 2010, when a violent explosion occurred leading to destruction of the rig and resulting oil spill. The well was in the final stages of completion at the time. Its cement casing was injected and hardening, and the rig was due to move shortly to its next role as a semi-permanent production platform at the Null site following by a return to the Keathley field. The exploratory work was described as concluded, and permission had already been requested from MMS to terminate operations at the Macondo site. During its operational lifetime, the rig was actively in operation for 93% of its working life. The remainder partly relates to time spent between sites. Regulation, safety, and inspection. The Minerals Management Service is the regulatory and inspecting body for offshore oil drilling and rigs in the United States of America. According to an Associated Press investigation, certain safety documentation and emergency procedure information, including documentation for the exact incident that later occurred, was absent. The exact number of required monthly inspections varied over time, with the required monthly inspection for the first 40 months but after that around 25% of inspections were omitted, although the investigation notes this is partly expected, since there are circumstances such as weather and movement which preclude an inspection. Reports of the last 3 inspections for 2010 were provided under Freedom of Information legislation. Each of these inspections had taken 2 hours or less. During its lifetime the rig received 5 citations for non-compliance, 4 of which were in 2002 and the other in 2003. A 6th citation in 2007 related to non-grounded electrical equipment was later withdrawn when the equipment was determined to be compliant with regulations. Overall, the Deepwater Horizon's safety record was strong according to a drilling consultant reviewing the information. In 2009 the Minerals Management Service heralded the Deepwater Horizon as an industry model for safety. According to AP's investigation, its record was so exemplary, according to MMS officials, that the rig was never on inspectors' informal watch list for problem rigs. Explosion and oil spill. At 9:45 p.m. CDT on April 20, 2010, during the final phases of drilling the exploratory well at Macondo, a geyser of seawater erupted from the marine riser onto the rig, shooting 240 aft into the air. This was soon followed by the eruption of a slushy combination of mud, methane gas, and water. The gas component of the slushy material quickly transitioned into a fully gaseous state and then ignited into a series of explosions and then a firestorm. An attempt was made to activate the blowout preventer, but it failed. At the time of the explosion, there were 126 crew on board. 7 were employees of BP, 79 of Transocean. There were also employees of various other companies involved in the operation of the rig, including Anadarko, Halliburton and MI Swaco. 11 workers were presumed killed in the initial explosion. The rig was evacuated, with numerous injured workers airlifted to medical facilities. After burning for approximately 36 hours, Deepwater Horizon sank on April 22, 2010. The remains of the rig were located resting on the seafloor approximately 5,000 ft deep at that location, and about 1,300 ft northwest of the well. The resultant oil spill continued until July 15 when it was temporarily closed by a cap. Relief wells were used to permanently seal the well, which was declared effectively dead on September 19, 2010. Aftermath: Transocean received an early partial insurance settlement for total loss of the Deepwater Horizon of $401 million around May 5, 2010. Financial analysts note that the insurance recovery is likely to outweigh the value of the rig and any liabilities, the latter estimated at up to $200 million. Litigation, ultimate roll call of damage, and the scope of final insurance recovery were all unknown as of June 2010, with analysts reporting that the aftermath is of unprecedented scale and complexity compared to previous disasters which themselves took many years to unfold and resolve. A July 2010 analysis by the Financial Times on the aftermath cites legal sources as saying that at some point the scale of the litigation becomes so large that it really is novel, that the situation is likely to be complicated further because the variety of probable cases means it will be hard to aggregate them into so-called class actions, and that there is no way to put this in historical context because we have never faced anything like this before. As with the Exxon Valdez disaster, litigation is being discussed in terms of a 20-year time scale. In January 2013, Transocean agreed to pay $1.4 billion for violations of the U.S. Clean Water Act. BP had earlier agreed to pay $2.4 billion but faces additional penalties that could range from $5 billion to $20 billion. In September 2014, Halliburton agreed to settle a large percentage of legal claims against them by paying $1.1 billion into a trust by way of 3 installments over 2 years. On September 4, 2014, U.S. District Judge Carl Barbier ruled BP was guilty of gross negligence and willful misconduct under the Clean Water Act. He described BP's actions as reckless, while he said Transocean's and Halliburton's actions were negligent. He apportioned 67% of the blame for the spill to BP, 30% to Transocean, and 3% to Halliburton. BP issued a statement strongly disagreeing with the finding, and saying the court's decision would be appealed. See also: Deepwater Horizon litigation, Ixtoc oil spill, Kola super deep borehole, notable offshore well blowouts, Atlantis PQ, Ocean Ranger, Piper Alpha, Thunder Horse PDQ, Transocean John Shaw. References. External links: Transocean official website, Deepwater Horizon detail at Transocean's website and at rigzone.com. Photograph of Deepwater Horizon in 2004 at geographic.org, Grift, Michelle. Initial Exploration Plan Mississippi Canyon Block 252 OCSG 32,306 inches. BP Exploration and Production Washburn, Mark. A half and boom ended Deepwater Horizon's good luck. The McClatchy Company. Retrieved June 18, 2010. A detailed media description of the events of the day of the Deepwater Horizon explosion, photo history of the fire and loss, MMS reading room on Deepwater Horizon, including Freedom of Information publications,